Do you need a business coach? Are you getting wrecked in crypto right now? Or if you if you need a business coach, or if you're a student athlete and you are wondering like what does that transition look like from athlete to entrepreneur, or if you're wondering what you possibly can do with NIL, or if you're wondering what it's like to start a business or what it's like to pivot into something else, like this is the podcast for you. You want to listen to this one because we got some heat this time. We got a great guest today. And I can't wait to introduce you to our guest. But first, I want to say, like, hit the subscribe button, man. We picking up some steam, and like we ain't going nowhere but up from here because it's brick by brick. We gonna build the house eventually, and eventually you're gonna look back and be like, damn, I should have tapped in a long time ago. Well, you can't tap in right now just by hitting subscribe, and we're on streams. So we're on the Apple Podcast, we're on Spotify, we're on all of that. So make sure you tap in, hit follow, whatever, and then go from there. What's up, J-Dale?
Man, chilling, man. Yeah, them crypto markets getting what Broner say? I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked. Actually, you know what? What's interesting, if I were to look at this, so, and yes, I think it's only a matter of time before Bitcoin starts running, but the clarity structure, the Market Structure Act, is still in process, and so I think that's what's kind of waiting. So everything else is running except for Bitcoin, basically, and risk assets. So fear and greed is at 34. Remember, it was at like down here at most.
Yep.
I think, what was that? That was 1121. Okay, I just want to make sure that people can see this. So fear and greed, that was 11, like the end of November of last year. And if you looked at the price of Bitcoin, I'm not sitting here. So let's go to 1121. I don't know what the price was at that time.
It was probably around like 80. The fact that fear and greed is on that level and Bitcoin is still at this price is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, this is monthly. 1 week. I need to do the weekly. I'll do the weekly. Yeah, I mean, fear and greed is there, and so that's where I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, so November 25. So we're still just kind of ranging. You know what I mean? Like fear and greed was down there. We went up and then we came back down. That's on the weekly. If I'm going on the daily, on the daily end of November, we're at 82 ish. So when you look at that, when you look at it like that, like fear and greed was around that time frame was, we're at 82,000. So that's what I look at mostly when I'm looking at, like, I don't really go off of the daily. God, I can't get this to change over. So that's what I look at mostly. I try to look at that because I'm not getting too caught up in the daily stuff. But so like this is November 21st, right? So Bitcoin was at like 84,000. Whereas right now we're at 89. So we're about where we should be. We're just ranging.
Yeah.
I mean, until we hit under 80, 83, 80, then I'll start panicking. But until then, it's just, we going to range from 125 or from 900 to 89. I don't know. But we'll see.
I mean, you got that. And then you see, I mean, gold and silver are both going crazy this last couple of months going.
Precious
gold
metals.
got to hit. Gold might hit 5,000 per ounce today.
I'm going to bring that up real quick. And silver, I think, just got over a dollar today or this morning. I believe I watched that. I'm not in that trade personally, but
I think silver just hit. I think it was 100 an ounce, something like that.
Yeah. So
I think today was the first time. So yeah, I mean,
precious metals are the move right, are pumping. I think if you're a trader, great. Like if you want to get into gold, that's great. I just I want to find another one actually than this one. This one doesn't show it very well, but it shows the overall trend. But I wanted to show the actual candles, like because the candles are crazy. Stock candles.
I do think in the next couple weeks, gold, once it passes 5,000, maybe push a little bit more, is gonna have one of the biggest drop offs.
Oh, bro,
ever. It's going to be huge.
So when you look at the candles, That's what I wanted to show. So hold on, let me look at that real quick. I'm gonna bring that up. This is what I got. So on gold, like I always say, don't chase green candles. If you're trading or you're longing or whatever, like yeah,
Yeah.
there's money to be made over here, no doubt. I'm not hating on at all. It's a trade that I wish I got in like last year, but I didn't. So this is from August of 2025. From that day forward, it's been nothing but up only for gold.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know what I
It's been
mean?
on a
Like
crazy
up
push, yeah.
only, up only. It corrected right here in October in the fall, along with everything else. That was the liquidation, I believe. So around that time, so Bitcoin liquidated on the 10th of October, and then you had all kinds of liquidations happening right there. And then it dropped back down, and then it just headed right back up. Green candles, and then just right now, the green candles are crazy. Like, look at
You're
that.
going
One,
crazy.
two, three. It's just printing green candle days.
Exactly.
Um,
It's just everyone's trying to get it and they know it's gonna hit 5K. And it's like get there and as
mhm.
soon as it passes a little bit, it's about to go
Resistance
red.
is at 5K, I would
Yeah.
have to imagine, or just
Yeah,
we're in
for
price
sure.
discovery, so it could be. Who knows? I don't
No,
know what
yeah.
the fear and greed looks like on that, but precious metal silver is pumping. I didn't show that chart either, but because I want to make sure we get to our guest. But yeah, there's opportunity over there for sure. And I hope if people get in on gold, I just feel like if you're buying gold right now, don't be disappointed if it corrects a little bit and you have to hold for the next 5 years. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
No,
Like, so think about
exactly.
what you're
Yeah.
buying it. Think about what you're buying it for.
And I've seen a lot of people go and buy trying to buy like gold bars and silver bars this week specifically. And it's like, nah, you should have done that last year or some months ago. Like
yeah,
buying that right now is gonna be worth a lot less in the next couple months, in my opinion. Like this ain't no
yeah.
advice. Don't quote me on that,
Not
but it's
financial
I
advice.
wouldn't
None
be
of this is
there's a
financial
reason
advice. Yo.
there's a reason the last like 5 or 6 months I haven't bought any gold at
Yeah.
all. Like there's no way I'm buying right now. I gotta wait for a big correction to go and get my stuff.
Yeah, you can. I think you can trade if you want to trade, or some
Trade
people
for
might be
sure, but
short.
just
It's people that were shorting it are getting wrecked right now
oh,
with them
you're
green
getting
candles.
cut. Yeah.
Yeah, they're getting cooked. But like I think Bitcoin to me is the trade right now.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for
the
sure.
Clarity Act's in motion. The banks every day I'm seeing a new bank. J.P. Morgan, it just went live on Ethereum. There's just stuff happening that I'm like, oh,
For
they're just
sure.
waiting for the rails for this Clarity Act to go through, and then they're gonna just
Absolutely.
turn
And
on
then
the
it's
faucet, and it's
exactly,
gonna go
exactly,
crazy.
exactly.
That's what I think. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I was wrong in about the fall, but also let me just say this: markets don't like in markets don't like instability and they don't like uncertainty. And when you
Mhm.
have a volatile president who is constantly trying to hide from Epstein files and all this other stuff and just constantly creating news, the markets don't like that, man. Like, even if it's news that's beneficial for markets long term, like short term, the waves are just crazy. Like, it doesn't have to be like
Oh,
this.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I mean, every week, like, even when he's doing a normal presser right now, like, the markets are bro, it's
They're
bro, he
just
affects
waiting.
them bro, like, no one tr everyone's just watching like, "Bro, he might fuck this up." Like
Yeah.
like
And
like, I'm if he's
yeah.
talking, I'm out of all trades until he's done talking because he
Right,
could
until he's
cook
done talking, 'cause
everything.
you don't know.
He could say
You
he
don't
could
know.
say anything, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, we're about to do this. Here's these tariffs. We're taking
Yeah.
this we're gonna take this country." And it's like, "Bro, just hold it down for a second and get off
Yeah,
so I can get
just
back
put
in
the
these
phone down,
markets."
brotherhood. Put the phone down, man. Like, come on,
And when
bro.
he don't got nothing planned, he's on X talking his
Yeah.
shit.
The other thing that I saw that I wanna let people know about is, and this is the last thing, prediction markets have gone live on Coinbase. Now, I would say I don't recommend people do prediction markets unless you have some money to blow or whatever, but don't go crazy in there. But I think it's interesting that the prediction markets are now becoming mainstream, and I think that there's going to be a lot of money that could be the on-ramp for crypto in 2026.
Yeah.
Um and because I went in and looked at it and I was like, man, I might go ahead and bet on this, put some money down on this Laker game. I watch them
Yeah,
every
yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah.
Might as well, you
Yep,
know what I'm saying? Or something, but it
yep.
ain't gonna be nothing crazy. But I don't know. I just don't want to get into that game though because I'm not a I mean, I guess some people could call what I'm doing gambling, but I'm long term in all the
Yeah,
stuff that
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing. So
Yep.
I don't know, man. I just it's a tough it's an interesting market right now. But
No, yeah.
I want to get into our guest. Our guest today is very well accomplished person. They have their doctorates. So when we say doctor, we're not saying that like Dr. Dre, as she said, or any other doctors that are out there, like Dr. Phil. I don't even know if Dr. Phil got a doctorate. Dr. Oz, that dude out there talking crazy. But anyway, this is a Foss grad, 2008 Foss grad, Tacoma. Played overseas after that, so has the basketball backgrounds. Played overseas, coached women's basketball at local community colleges, and then also was a head coach at the college level at Pierce. Made the switch in COVID, so like COVID hit, and I got to watch all of this. So we've known each other for a long time, and I've got to watch this person like really just evolve and pivot and thrive, and it's been really fun to watch. So it was really super dope when we ran into each other at a game this earlier this week, Monday, like a few days ago. Same way with Lay. It was just like, man, you should come on the podcast. Like she's like, man, let me come on the podcast. Like, shoot, what you doing Friday? You know what I'm saying? Like this is organic. Then she
Yeah.
started task leads and then moved on from not moved on but has task leads and then now started Uish, another consulting company, and we'll talk about that, and just has investment properties and diversified and is very diversified in what she does, and she's a just straight up entrepreneur up and down, and made that pivot a while ago, and just really a really smart driven individual that I respect greatly, and I just can't wait to hear what she has to say. Dr. Reese is going to be on the show today. Dr. Reese, the first female on Brick by Brick ever.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the audience about yourself.
Well,
I mean,
first off, again, brick by brick, thank you for allowing me to be the first female to touch the space.
yeah.
Again, Dr. Reese, she, her pronouns, like to throw that out because the fade be getting cat sometimes. From Tacoma, Foss grad, full name is Arisa, but I am just somebody who is passionate about helping people grow. I'm the founder and CEO of Uish, and we're a confidence coaching company. And basically what that means is we help people develop the mindsets, habits, and skills that they need in order to live out their purpose with confidence. And so those areas are mental, emotional, and financial confidence, not to the level of crypto like you guys, though. We definitely don't touch that. If somebody wants some crypto info, I'm throwing them your way for sure. Hooper, entrepreneur, partner, fiance, mom, somebody who just is passionate about traveling the world and doing what I can to impact other people.
That's dope. So yeah, so I've got to watch you go into being an entrepreneur, and you've been true loyal to the soil. Like there's not been
Mhm.
no change up in your energy. There's not been no change up in anything that I've seen, at least from afar.
Mhm.
Now I know social media is just highlights and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like you've touched on a lot of personal topics as well in just following your journey as well. So I
Mhm.
feel like you're a very genuine person to me, like from in terms of what you're about and how you've moved and where you're headed, basically.
For
So
sure. Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate that.
kudos to you.
Thank you.
So tell us about like, and we were talking before this, but let's just go ahead
Mhm.
and start where like at COVID. So like you've coached and done all that because I'm curious about your thoughts around NIL and what you're seeing. But you coached and then you made a pivot. What tell us about that pivot that you made from coaching and being in the basketball world and just being an athlete, and how did that change your identity? Like, did you have to
Mhm.
change your identity and shift into that, or was it just kind of a
Yeah.
natural thing and you just saw an opportunity?
Yeah, that's a great question because my pivot was always the plan. And not to
Mm,
try to drop a bar, but my pivot
hmm
was the plan from day one. So I've got entrepreneurship in my blood. My dad is a hustler. My grandpa owned restaurants in Tacoma. Like that's just being an entrepreneur is a part of who I am. And so every job that I had from 15 on up, I saw as a paid internship. Like I needed to
Oh,
learn how do I do this thing so I can come back right as an owner of my thing. So I worked in education, K-12, higher ed. I was a professor alongside coaching, but I started my first nonprofit when I was 20, 21. I was in college. So I was still hooping, and I had a youth academy. It was called TCSA. It was a sports specific academic and life skills academy that stood for true Christian student athletes. And so as I was hooping, getting my degree, playing and all that stuff, I was training, coaching, doing life skills, applying my degree to the students and the athletes that I was working with. We had AAU teams and all of that. So for me, I've always had this thought process, and I applied every degree to every business that I had. So then once I got my master's and I played overseas, and then I started coaching, and then I was working right in organizations, I was just testing it was just research. I've just been researching my whole life. So when COVID hit, I was like, all right, God, let's get it. So the pivot was the plan, because I was preparing for the moment for me to officially step away. And I had to make sure my real estate was right, because, you go from W-2 to we don't know you when you're going to get paid. Ain't nobody giving you a loan off of that. So I had to make sure my everything, my ducks were in a row as far as real estate. And as soon as I was able to lock down a couple more properties, I stepped away full time, and I haven't looked back, and we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary.
Damn, that's dope. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
fire.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when you say real estate, you were an agent, and then you bought properties. Was that the goal for you?
All the above. So back in 2016, I started to get my real estate license. I started the process, my mom and I, and then unfortunately she passed away in 2017. So I kind of halted the process and then got back in it. But even with getting the license, I was getting my license with the intent to just try to learn from the investor's lens. And so I started learning about real estate when I was a junior in college. And so my youth academy, TCSA, I'm out in California, Redding, California, 99.9% white folks. So I got a bunch of white kids on my team, but their parents were owners and owned apartments and did contracting and all of this stuff. And I'm 21 and I'm like, because I didn't know nobody in Tacoma that did none of that.
Yeah.
And so by me being in close proximity, my social capital grew, which opened me up to a whole nother world. And so my mom owned a home, my grandma owned a home, but they just owned it from an ownership stance, not from an investment stance. And so nobody had ever, talked to me about that. And so I started talking to them, and they're like, oh yeah, we own these apartments. And I'm like, you own an apartment? I just never heard anybody ever say they own an apartment before. And once I learned that, man, I started listening to Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey, and I got getting my hand on every podcast. But before, it was just tapes. So I'm literally walking from class to class, drive-in, because again, I've always had this entrepreneurship mind. How do I learn about money, get my money up? I'm using envelopes, I'm building my credit, I'm teaching other people how to do it. All of that stuff is happening at that time. So when I started to get my license, I just got in it from a stance of, how do I learn the business from here? So when I'm teaching, so for me being a student, it's always, how do I become a better teacher is the reason why I'm being a student. And so when I got my license, it wasn't really to sell, because I was still a head coach. I still had my AAU program, and I was still working in education full time. So I did one open house. I was like,
you were good.
I was like, nah, this ain't for me. Yeah, it is. And so people would always tell me, you can't do real estate part-time. And I'm like, no, I can do whatever I need to do. You can't. It's not, you can't go into anything that you want to excel at with a part-time thought process. And that was one thing that I now tell people. So I'm very firm on, let me be the student of the thing that I want to teach, so I can give you what I call experiential knowledge. And so I ended up getting somebody wanted me to list their spot. It was a condo, and I didn't care. And when I say I didn't care, that to me is exactly what I teach when I'm working with folks, is like, if you don't have any energy, passion, you don't want to organically do it. So my life model is, if I won't do it for the free, I won't do it for a fee. And because I'm not moved by money, I'm moved by, like, does this really excite me? And it didn't. It didn't excite me. And so I ended up bringing in Becky Frazier, who has been an amazing mentor to me when it comes to real estate and investing. And she's somebody who's always picked up the phone. So from woman to woman, truly appreciate her pouring into me. I'm in that end. So I ended up bringing her in because she does this. And I said, take it. Do it, figure it out. You got this, because it was beyond me. But and after that, I ended up icing my license. But I'm still an investor. So again, it gave me that insight of going through the process. What does it look like to do the test? What does it look like to have an open house and to sell a property and be a part of it and be a part of a brokerage? And then, so now as a real estate investor, I'm like, okay, cool. I know who I need to work with, who I don't need to work with. And then when other folks are trying to learn the process, I understand that not all
Mhm.
agents understand investing. And
Mhm.
so it shifted my mind as I got into Airbnb and short term and long term and all that stuff. So hopefully I'm answering the question that you asked
Yeah,
specifically,
yeah,
but
this is good.
yeah. So as an investor is really my thought process on how do I move in a way that allows the portfolio to grow, but also add value to other folks versus me just being not just being, but versus me being a agent, which was something I didn't have a passion for.
Yeah, that's good, that's good. And everybody's different. I mean, that's the
Mhm,
thing
Yeah.
is like, so I know that investment properties for me is just not that's not my jam. You know what I mean? Like I don't
mhm,
we've had opportunities and I just haven't I'm not and I have a father-in-law who's a contractor. Like he works he like
mm,
I grew up around houses and working on houses and all that kind of stuff, but like it's not I'm not passionate about it. We've talked about it and instead I do the hard thing and open up a business. And we open up a business and work with people and try to
yeah,
build other people up. You know, like it's a everyone's different, you know. So I like that perspective though, like the investor perspective. And that's just yeah, it's just good stuff. And I've watched you go along the way. And I think what I took mostly from what you just said, though, and what I want other people to hear is the experiential knowledge piece,
Hmm.
because there's not many yous in your area. I mean, there are, but in terms of the sheer numbers of people, and the number and like what we're talking about with NIL and athletes and college athletes, and when I look around at who's in the positions of trying to help our young people. I'm not saying
mhm,
that they're not good at it or they're not valuable. That they
mhm,
very are, but and there is something about someone who's been in the shoes of that person who may not have had that financial literacy or didn't grow up around it. Like just being able to see yourself in that person and being like, oh yeah, okay, I know exactly what you're going through. I was there. You know what I mean? That's important. I think
yeah, and that's
for
the
all of us.
science of confidence really is if you've never done it, you're going to lack the confidence in it. It's one thing,
Hmm.
right, to talk about it. So for us, we talk about cognitive knowledge versus experiential knowledge. And so I think that's a really big deal because a lot of folks do say, oh man, you got to do this and you got to do that. But you've never done it. So you don't know what it feels like to whether it's have the disappointment or to actually put in an
Hmm.
application for a house or when to have squatters to like really be able to talk through it. So from a coach stance, from a mentor stance, anytime I approach anything, again, it's from that I was a student of this, I was in it, I have the experiential knowledge, and if I don't, I'm gonna point you towards somebody right who does, because that's really how game is given through somebody who actually did the thing,
Exactly.
not to people who just think they know what the thing is. And I think there's too much of thinking what people know what the thing is and not
Yep.
actually having the experience of it nowadays.
Hmm.
No, exactly. And I 100% agree with all that. That's why every single thing I get into, I go full blast and learn it myself.
Mhm,
Like for everything there, I've tried and done a million things. It's like, no, I'm about to learn it. Cause I also have missed out on too many opportunities just off
Yeah.
lack of knowledge. And then years later, it's
mhm,
like, damn, if I just knew this. So now, I mean, we got so much things at our fingertips. It's like, there's
mhm,
nothing we can't learn. So even going back to the how you got into real estate and why you did it, it was like when I got into real estate, it was the same thing. It's like I'm watching YouTube videos. It's like I want to invest one day. I want to get this, and it's like, man, if I'm learning, I might as well get my license. You know, I've seen too many people,
Hmm.
my family and friends, get taken advantage of, and just off lack of knowledge, they don't know any better.
mhm,
So, and then from an entrepreneur standpoint, I mean, when I first met with Dave, he knows I came and sat with him, and I sat with him not just, "Hey, I wanna just sell homes." It's like, nah, I had a full
Hmm.
plan, like, "Hey, this is
mhm,
the vision I have. It might be
mhm,
5 years, but this is the vision I have, you know, with athletes, with investors, with this." And, I mean, it connected right from jump. So even
mhm,
Yeah.
and like you said, it can't be part-time. It went full
Yeah.
time immediately. And as long as it, you know, it's love. Like last year I grew my database where I was working with only investors. It was okay, you're a flipper, you're buying multifamilies, you're doing this, where that was something that was fun to me. And then now this year I still want to work with those people, but just have the same beliefs and values as me, you know, like, you know, be a good person, still have some love in it. And I mean, that's what keeps it fun, you know? So
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, even so, for example, when I'm thinking about like this NIL stuff, and I want to ask you
Mhm,
that question about that, but like with this NIL thing, I feel like we're in a position right now, all three of us and other people who've been on this podcast, whatever, we're at a time when this has never happened before, right? I mean, this is the first time. So it's an opportunity to help educate people because I'm seeing people get taken advantage of. I remember I wanted to coach in Tacoma as a basketball coach because I saw kids that had a lot of talent not go further because of grades or because of something. And so that's why I wanted to go coach in Tacoma. If anyone wanted to know why, that's why. That was my why. And when you look at my actions of when I was there, that's what I was about the whole
Mhm.
time. And so like the same thing now. Like if I don't, so if I reach out to an NIL guy or whatever, whoever, and they're like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, or I don't like, maybe they don't, maybe they don't think I'm going about it the same way that someone else would. That's okay, because I'm gonna be doing it anyway.
mhm.
I'm not stopping. So like I'm gonna find my way to help people regardless, and that's just because this is who I am. Have you seen anything? Because I mean, you started Task Leech, which was kind of centered around athletes making money and figuring out how to manage their finances. How has NIL changed the way that you look at athletes and what they need and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So just to give some background on what TaskLeads is and
Hmm.
was, and so TaskLeads was a financial tech app. Basically, think about TaskRabbit or Thumbtack, but it was centered around specifically allowing college athletes to make money because we all know they have only a couple hours in a day to be able to
Hmm.
do something. So holding down a job with a specific schedule in class and all that stuff is crazy. So obviously being the coach that I am and seeing athletes go through this and then become an entrepreneur and in an investor is when I had the thought process. I was in one of my properties that I just built, had somebody come through to do, I think, the grass and then help with something else that I hired off a Thumbtack. And I was like, I'd much rather be able to hire
Right.
the athlete down the street. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, shoot, athletes, right? So literally Thumbtack for athletes. But that ended up taking a pause in the back seat. One, because one of my business partners and I ended up having to go separate ways, unfortunately, due to my sexuality and his faith. It just didn't work. So
Hmm.
that's something, right, that I have to deal with on a daily basis when we're talking about
Hmm.
entrepreneurship. And
Hmm.
Jordan, you talk about, is there alignment? Like that's something that I have to be
Mhm.
very firm on. If you don't rock with all of me and you can't champion
Yep.
all of me, I can't do life with you. And so
Exact
I had to make
Mhm.
a firm decision that sucked, but kind of just is what it is. And so,
Yep.
what I've done though is pivoted and allowed Youish to be able to create that same vibe because Youish is where I spend my 24 hours, a day thinking about. And so Youish as a confidence coaching company, one of our big deals is our financial confidence. And I
Hmm.
call it financial confidence for a reason and not financial literacy because what does it mean to be literate?
Right. Right. That's a
Like,
great
like
point.
literate literally means to read.
Hmm.
But what happens is a lot of folks, they can read a thing, but then they lack context and
Yep.
comprehension.
Yep.
And so when Joel Santana's like, oh, they don't need to know how to read. It's like, no, okay.
No, crazy for
They
that
don't know
take,
how to
by the
read.
way. That was crazy, bro.
It's like, cool. So what they need is financial literacy. But the thing about that, and I'm sure you've seen this, and I'm getting to your question right with NIL and athletes is, okay, even if they do know how to read to a third grade level, if they lack context and comprehension, they're not going to be able to have the confidence to be
Yep.
competent in what they're doing. And so one of the examples I always use with my students is, what's principal? No, not the guy in the office down here. Okay, like understanding what principle is. Okay, what's capital? Not DC, not Olympia, but I
Mhm.
get those responses. Whether I'm talking to athletes, whether I'm talking to traditional high school students, whether I'm talking to students who are incarcerated, I get the same responses everywhere. So we are intentional with not calling our stuff financial literacy because it's
Mhm.
not just about you reading; it's about you going from literate to comprehension to the ability to execute, right, which is confidence. So when it comes to student athletes specifically, in NIL, it's for the top 1%. It
Mhm.
works for who it works for. Like, not
Yeah.
everybody's going to be able to be a millionaire. And I love that NIL exists. I love that student athletes have the ability to leverage social media, their brand, get paid 100%, no argument. Period. Next paragraph down is there's 99% of the other student athletes who are like, that don't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
And so when I develop athletes and develop U-ish in a way to be able to bring athletes on, it's for those athletes who don't have clout, don't want to be popular, aren't super studs. Because the thing is, there are 6 different levels of college out there between NCAA and NAIA in community college. So between all these different levels, NIL is not making its way down from D1 all the way down to community college in JUCO. And there's so many students. So I say all that to say is NIL is amazing, but it's really kind of only changing the landscape at the top levels of schools.
Yep.
And it sucks because people forget about the D2 students, the D3 students, the NAIA students, the community college students, and then you have the portal and all of that. But there's still that kid who's about to graduate from Annie Wright this year, who is probably a CC level player. The NIL is not even coming across the board, right? So, but those are still the students that need assistance with grades and transferring and understanding the process, who then need the financial competence to understand, do I get a loan? How do I do financial aid? How do I pay for this apartment? Okay, maybe I do want to go to school out here. So for me, it's more about how do I advise and educate them on the holistic life picture, because they've already always been in the real world. Like, I don't use that term real world. You've already been in it, but you need the financial confidence to know, okay, I can go to school, find a way to be able to make money to support myself here, and NIL just ain't for me. It's not. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes 100% sense. I'll push back just a little. I agree with everything you just said. I just think that NIL gives college athletes an opportunity to play college basketball professionally at some point. You know what I mean? Like, so if you are that CC person, right? There's at least a road that doesn't lead to just NBA, which I know I might never get to, right? But if I stick around long enough, I might be able to go to a Big Sky school and get $100,000 or something to play basketball, or you know, at 23 years old, you know, because that's who they're recruiting now. It's like turned into, because those first 2 years don't mean anything anymore. They don't count. So I have 4 more years after that. And if I can stick around, but here's the gap that you're feeling and what you're talking about, which is, okay, that's for like a very small percentage. You know what I mean? So it's both and, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but
yes.
the other part to that is you're talking about from the male perspective. I'm coming from the woman's perspective. So that's this is why it matters to have women at the table, because this could be very male dominated center, but there are so many women who just, it's just not one. They either go to school to continue their education. Like, yeah, I'm going to keep playing ball. I like it. I kind of like it. Or I want to be a nurse. So being a nurse has nothing to do with NIL. And I think it's just as easy in a male dominated world, right? In a white narcissistic world, it's easy for it to be, we're thinking about men. So all these systems are created to make sure the men succeed, or the football players and the basketball players who do have the option to go here and go overseas. But the amount of women that get thought about in these instances is fewer. So again, Tathletes allows me, or U-ish allows me, to be able to hire a student athlete at a local community college to be able to do my editing. So now you got a job that's paying you. You're getting an internship with a company, with a Black queer-owned company, and now you get me as a mentor. You get your resume built up, you get your experience built up, and you're getting paid. So when you go off, you can keep this job because as long as you get it done, right? And so that's just for me. And I would also encourage other entrepreneurs, if you need assistance, tap into your local community college. There are student athletes there who have skills and who have gifts, and they can literally add value to, your job or to your company at a lower rate. You don't have to get somebody from overseas. You can have somebody right there in your backyard who is in school, who is up with AI, who can do all these different things. So I'm passionate obviously about women, because it's easy for us to get forgot about. Why? Because I was forgotten about. So I want to make sure I'm creating space for us in the conversation.
I think that's a great point, because even sometimes I get caught up in only thinking about like men's, and not even just men's, but I'm thinking about men's basketball and football players, where it's like those are the biggest markets as well. Even going back to when we were in college, there's no NIL. So I remember I had a hard time with Timia, because she had all these letters and offers from Michigan State and Florida for volleyball. And I'm like, why would you not go? She's like, oh, they want to change my position. I can't be an outside hitter. They want me to put me at this. And it's like, but
Mhm.
what about after? Like, you're this type of recruit. Why not go? Well, what am I going to do after college? If I'm not playing for Team USA, I'm not getting paid in volleyball. And I'm not
Mhm.
playing for Team USA at 5'4". So like, it's not like you could go overseas and do this or you're trying to play pro. She was like, so
Mhm.
I'd rather just stay over here with you, get MVP of these leagues, and have fun doing it, because no matter what, I'm gonna end up back here anyway. And at the time, I'm always feeling like I'm thinking bigger, but I didn't understand it until I got out. Like, damn, that was smart. Like, you would have been
Yeah.
out here, they would have changed your position, you would have not had fun, and then you're coming back here. It's like, nah, I'm not playing for Team USA. They don't have these markets and these pay scales for just a random player,
Mhm.
and there's no NIL. So I had a hard time at the time, and now I completely understand it. So, okay, I got to think from this side of the table as well.
Yep. No, there's someone.
Mhm,
So we were just talking about Trey. So his
mhm,
sister played volleyball, and I talked to her at a family function, and we had a good conversation about what did pro volleyball look like for her because she played at UW. Like
mhm,
she's a boss, right? And so that was interesting hearing her perspective of pro volleyball on
mhm,
overseas and all that other kind of stuff. So
mhm,
the other thing too with NIL that I feel like it's been 'cause I like how Reese, how you started out talking about it, like, with using your name and the school to leverage. That's what I always thought of it as going in, not being
Mhm.
paid to play. Like, I thought it was like, "Oh, I get to use my name, my image, and my likeness to make money for myself."
Mhm.
Like, not, "Oh, I'm gonna get paid to play." Like,
Yeah.
and so that's when I went in thinking about it, but not everyone wants to be a social media influencer. Not everyone wants to start their own, business. Not everyone's an entrepreneur. So like that doesn't necessarily work for a lot of the people too. Even if that was the case, it doesn't work for a lot of people. So I like the idea of task leads because like it's pretty straight up. It's like, no, I want to be a veterinarian. Oh, okay, cool. Like here's this person, they could use an assistant for a veterinarian, and then, just tapping in. And so what we're doing with Abode, for example, is I'm really passionate about working with young people and trying to figure out on ramps into real estate that are less scary and less and not necessarily being an agent. I always talk to people about that. Everyone wants to be an agent. I'm like, well, there's so many other jobs in this industry:
mhm,
title, mortgage, lending, like assistant to something, a social media person for a team. Like there's so many different ways to enter into the business of real estate. And I always just talk about that with young people. So
I love that
it's
you
good.
said that because I get hit up all the time because folks know, right? Oh, you're in it. Like you're actually in it. A lot of people don't know people are actually in it. So I get hit up. Oh, I want to do real estate. Okay. What does that mean?
Right.
yeah,
And so
Right.
when somebody comes at me like, I'm thinking about doing real estate as a side, I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And I promise you, I have the conversations all the time
Yep.
because
Same.
as we know, social media has this very, like, it's so
mhm,
easy. You could do this, you get in there. And I'm sure, right, JDM, you're talking about the flippers. I just want to flip. Okay, let's
yep,
talk about it. And
yeah,
so again, by being a student, it's easier to be the teacher when you've studied, right, all those realms. And the first thing that I tell people is you need to identify when you say I want to be a part of real estate, what part of real estate do you want to be a part of? You don't have to be able to play everything because not everything is for you. So I'm not a flipper. I will give some money to a flip. I will invest some money with the flipper, but I am
mhm,
not touching. I'm not
yeah,
flipping. I'm
yeah,
not doing none of those things.
yeah,
Right. So if you don't know you and you don't know enough about the real estate game, you're going to feel like your only option is this. And again, this connects to NIL, this connects to entrepreneurship, this connects to just life in general. If you only think you have two options, you're going to choose sometimes the one that you think is easier, that you have
Right.
less fear around. And
yep,
so the other one that I get a lot is, oh, I want to get into Airbnb. Do you want to work for the Airbnb company or do you want to
Right.
be a real estate investor who has the option of utilizing Airbnb as a source and a strategy? And so
mhm,
everything that I do, I'm always listening to how people are approaching me when it comes to that convo. But I love how you said that because I'm always like, you have to, when you're thinking as an investor versus thinking as a consumer of a product that you want to
Mhm.
provide,
Right.
it changes your whole thought process. So I tell everybody, no, you don't get into real estate to do Airbnb. Get into real estate to provide, again, safe housing for somebody because your model can flip and switch. Like I have 6 doors, but it could also go down to 3 doors and 3 roofs. But because I understand that there's multiple different options and strategies, and Airbnb is a strategy that I use. And at one property now it don't work no more. Now it's just something completely different. So if you don't understand that there's many different layers to the game, and you don't have to just play the game in the way that you've seen it. If you're not willing to do the research, you're going to get played. I mean, the same thing when it comes to hoop. If you didn't do the scouting report, you're going to get cooked. It's the same thing when it comes to real estate. If you're not willing to figure out how you can get at it, I don't want to be an agent, cool, but I'm going to be an investor for forever. My son knows that we're investors. Bruh's 8. He gets it. So all you have to do is be able to have the conversation and see it from a different angle. So I love that you guys are educating, because people have to be able to be educated, and then be free with fear to be able to continue on and say, okay, let me get in the game the best way I know how, and say, okay, this don't work for me, but there's other options, and there's something out there for everybody. Everybody should be in this game. So that's my thought.
Yeah. What are some practical things? Let's say someone's listening and they're an athlete or someone like that, and this is resonating with them. Like, man, I'm trying to go. What would be a practical thing? Like, so for me, if I was saying, hey, this is the practical thing, have a regular job and save money first. Like, so that just save, because being an entrepreneur is not for the, like, you don't want to like get into it and then like don't have a nest egg or something to fall back on, or at least just something, because then you just go back to having a regular job anyway. Right.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Like, so for me, that would be the practical advice. Is there any other practical advice that you would give for pivoting, or someone that wants to pivot into another
Yeah. The first thing is
entrepreneurship?
get mentors. There's wisdom and counsel.
Yeah, that too.
So number one, get some people who can pour into your life. I don't care how flashy their social media may look, get your social capital up, because there's folks who are actually really doing the work. And so you want to make sure you have people in your life who have that experiential knowledge. So number one, get some people who can pour into your life, who can coach you up. Number two, figure out what your passion pocket is. And again, as a purpose and confidence scientist, I can't not tell everybody that you were born on purpose, with a purpose, to live out your purpose. And I don't care how booked and busy you are if you're not busy living out your purpose. And so if we don't understand what that means, then you need to start to get to know yourself more. And you have to understand that you have gifts. And some of those gifts will open doors to other ways. My gift to hoop led me to this conversation. In that small way, because I had a gift to basketball, we're connected. Right. We're having this convo about all these other things, and now I get to add advice to your community, but that's because I had a gift to hoop. And so from the athlete's perspective, utilize that gift, but do know the same way LeBron was able to squash that basketball out and squeeze it into so many other different things, you could do the same thing. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the sport specifically, but there are people in and around that sport who are connected to other things that are also connected to your gift and your purpose. And so this again goes back to the social capital piece, and get your financial capital up. You got to have some money in your pocket.
Yeah.
You got to have it. You got to figure out a way, we call it, right, having a game plan, which is your money execution strategy. You need to be able to pay your future self. So you're paying me today, I'm paying me tomorrow, and I'm paying me in 5 years. And that has to be something that's consistently happening. So get some dough, figure out a job. Again, find a mentor, because your mentor always knows somebody who can connect you with some type of job somewhere. Figure out how you can add value. So when I think practical, I'm trying to squeeze it down. That's also like going to assist you in life. Be very intentional with what you consume, because we become what we consume. So, which is why choosing your mentors matters, because being a wise follower is going to help you be a better leader. And I'm trying not to sound like a cliche, but this is real life stuff that I have to consume on a daily basis in order for me to continually be successful, and still want to grow and stretch. So be somebody, if you can be somebody who wants to be led, you will be a great leader, which is going to make you a great entrepreneur, wherever that may be. But mentorship, get some money in your pocket, figure out how you can add value, and that's connected to your purpose. Those are the practical things that I can say you could do. And then follow me so we can stay connected.
Yeah. Hey man, go ahead. I'm not even gonna front. Like, that was not, we did not do no pre-planning. We did not do anything like of that nature. And you killed that. That was a great answer. So thank you.
Are you primarily working with athletes?
No, I work with humans across the board. So when I say humans across the board, we've worked with organizations. I've worked with Nike. I've worked with the Storm,
Uh-huh.
all the way down to I coach. When I say coach, the same as teach, coach and teach
Yeah.
at some of the youth institutions. So folks who are incarcerated, teaching
Mhm.
them. Our main thing, as you can see right here, is You Are the Bag. And so we have a You Are the Bag personal development, and then we also have a You Are the Bag financial
Uh-huh.
confidence development. So I'm teaching in classrooms almost every day, but then I also do workshops and trainings across the country on social, doing things. So not just athletes. Athletes right now, I would say, is probably the smallest percentage of folks that I work
Yeah.
with.
Mhm.
Unfortunately,
Mhm.
I want to pick that up, but I know again with a lot of the spaces I'm in, people have a hard time finding funding for the most important thing, which is their brain, which is their
Yeah.
emotions,
Right.
which is their
Yeah.
behavior. But it's easy to pay the trainer $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when the kid messes up and they feel like a failure and they feel like they lost their confidence, but they never really had it, I'm the person you need to be tapping in with. And so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you asked that. So
Yeah.
I'm also the WIAA's confidence coach for their student leaders. So I'm in certain pockets when it comes to athletes,
Mhm.
but also not doing as much as I want to. So thank you for
Mhm.
asking that.
No, yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. No, yeah, I like that, especially like because obviously coaches, depending on what it is, you're dealing with so many different types. Like you might, for example, someone is a trainer, like you said, you might get a kid that doesn't really care about it, but their parents are putting them in it. You
Mhm.
know, like, oh no, you're gonna be good. Or I was wondering if because you are this caliber of coach, if you might get people that are already motivated, they're just looking for to get unstuck or for that next
Mhm.
level up. Is it mixed where it's like, are you trying to put ideas or switch people's mindsets? If that kind of makes sense. Cause
I would say it this way. So, to describe what I do, when I say I'm a
uh
purpose and confidence scientist,
mhm,
my research into the question you're talking about,
mhm,
male centered, when I was doing my research for my doctorate, everything was surrounded by black boys and men,
mhm,
Mhm.
basketball, football. It
Yeah.
was extremely hard to find anything surrounding like women's sports or women coaches or women anything. And so that's why I always make sure like I have to put that out in front
Mhm.
is everything revolves around that piece and that thought process. But to jump forward, so as somebody who studies purpose and confidence, confidence is the umbrella to human development. So you could think
mhm,
of me as a high performance coach, a peak performance coach, a human development specialist when it comes to mindsets and the habits that allow us to operate at a high level.
mhm,
But the other piece beneath that is the emotional piece. So we use emotional confidence, but another term could be emotional intelligence. So I study neuroplasticity, I study self efficacy, I
Mhm.
study anything that helps somebody grow to be them best selves, which is why I say it's not just athletes because it's a human thing. Like I study certain parts of the brain that feed into our prefrontal cortex that impacts our decision making, that impacts how we move, that impacts how we think and how we feel. So to not get super scientifically with it, our You Are the Bag is literally based off of a scientific way of how we are as humans,
yeah,
Yep.
because there's certain types of capital inside of our brain, and my
for
research
sure.
is based off of the multiple different types of capital. And
Yep.
so by saying you are the bag, there's
Yeah,
capital inside of you, which means you are the person that is holding on to these assets. But if you don't know how to invest in them,
yeah.
Yep.
here's that right,
Nah,
that investment
absolutely.
piece, right? So to get people unstuck, it would depend on what is the barrier, what are they hitting. Every single person I
Mhm,
work with, whether it's from a one-on-one stance, a group stance, depending on how old they are. I mean, folks need coaching and counseling, and I'm very specific on saying like I'm not a counselor because I don't do trauma informed work. I'm going to coach you up and challenge you into ways of growth, but we will have to get very serious on your identity, your authenticity, your self-awareness, because
yeah,
that influences everything else. And for athletes, we get something called, and a lot of people get it, but it's called identity foreclosure, to where like I am the athlete. And when
yeah.
that ball
Mhm.
stops bouncing or whatever it is, we
Mhm,
struggle to see ourselves in other
yep,
ways. And that
absolutely.
comes from our emotions and our thought process and how we're thinking. So it can vary the same way it can vary when you're trying to sell a house to somebody and they're like, I don't really know what I may want. It's
No, for
right, kind of
sure.
is right. It's kind of similar, but it's a
Absolutely.
human thing.
No, absolutely. I think the reason it interests me is lies. I'm right now, I'm into the same exact thing, except I have no interest in coaching. I realize I have a passion for, I love talking to people about goals and how to level up and how to put it on paper um and parts of the brain. So
Mhm.
I don't know if for the whole point of Zenith was I wanted to create a product that helped with NGF factor in your brain. So how can you have more focus? How can you have more memory? How can we help with the stress, cortisol levels? And it was something
Mhm.
that I needed and it's something that helped me. So when I created the Zenith brand, it was like, I want a product and supplements that specifically help with brain function. So we have a 25-to-1 extract of lion's mane. So we're having things that have helped with brain. So now on top of
Mhm.
that, part of our rebrand, the last couple months I've been in the middle of creating an actual planner where it's
Mhm.
yearly, weekly, and monthly, where
Mhm.
now you're going off mindset intention,
Mhm.
1 week plan, 1 month plan, and having to actually put it on paper daily, weekly, and map it all out because it goes back into just the level up mind. So I'm that's something that's going under Zenith that we've been working on. So that's why
Yeah.
I have an
Yep.
interest in what you're doing. You go and actually do it in person. It's like with me, I hate talking in front of people, but I love talking to people like this and actually talking about goals, plans,
Yeah.
and redirecting it. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
what you just broke
Mhm.
down, I could pull out my iPad right now
Yeah.
and show you. It's I call it my CEO view. So it's
Hmm.
the whole year focus, and then
Yep.
I've got my quarterly focus, and then I do monthly, weekly, daily. And the reason why that's important is because you've heard the same people underestimate what they can achieve and
Yep.
overestimate, that thought process. But it really is, and entrepreneurs, this as you're building, it's so easy to get so overwhelmed by all the things and to
Absolutely.
feel like you have to get it done today, right now. It has to be, but there's always going to be problems because we're solution focused, that we're always going to be able to find a problem that we want to solve. And so for me, at least, in understanding how the brain works is okay, here are the problems I'm going to solve today. Here's what winning looks like for me and my company
Yep.
this week. And the fact
Yep.
that I can wake up and still be building the company of my dreams every single day after
Hmm.
5 years is blows my mind. Is there somewhere
Mhm.
we're trying to go? Absolutely. But if you don't handle and get these wins, and again, as Hooper, so I love being here because I could talk that talk in that way.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people don't
Mhm.
get it. It's just getting reps. Like it's
Yep.
literally, how do I get reps? How
100%.
do I create a practice plan, right? As a coach that allows my business to grow in this way. What's the vision? Where do I want to see us go? So I literally take, again, everything from being a hooper and from being a coach into being an entrepreneur. I don't think I would be as good or successful as an entrepreneur if I wasn't a hoop coach and if I wasn't a
Mhm.
player who had that thought process and thread throughout. So, J Dam, that breakdown mentally for our brain is beneficial because
Mhm.
when it comes to goal setting, we have a system. And if you use this, just, at me, called GAS. And so it's our goal achieving system. And
Mhm.
Mhm.
so, because a lot of folks just set goals, but we don't want to set them. We want to achieve them. And
Mhm.
so in our brain, it works different when we're utilizing a method. And I would love to, I could share it with you offline and
For
stuff so you
sure.
can see the breakdown of it. And,
Absolutely.
maybe we could partner up and throw something there. You don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so, but in that though, it's based off of the science of motivation. And what
Mhm.
sucks about motivation is people think it's a woo woo type of
Mhm.
feel, but there's an actual science behind motivation that keeps
Yeah.
us connected to developing confidence. Where when I say, again, I'm a confidence coach, motivation is a direct alignment of that. And
Yep.
so when you think about motivation and hope and self-efficacy and resilience and all those other forms of capital that
Yeah.
are in
Yeah.
us, if I'm not intentional with investing in those things, I'm going to then deplete them. The same way as if I'm not intentional with investing in my accounts, I'm gonna just spend the money, I'm gonna deplete it. So now my bag is fumbled and I didn't recognize it. So there's a
Mhm.
thread intentionally
Yeah.
between how we are as humans, how we spend our money, and how we're able to live out our purpose and
For
how we're
sure.
able to stay motivated to achieving goals. Because if I don't have hope, what's the point of a goal? Like I
Oh
won't even
yeah.
know how to set it to stay with it to get after it. So I
No,
would love to keep that conversation going offline for sure.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
dope. That's dope. That's all good stuff, man. Like and all I think about is when I hear that is because I talk about it all the time. I just try to take these like complex things and make them into bite-sized pieces that people can understand.
Hmm.
Like
Mhm.
so, for example, you mentioned neuroplasticity
Hmm.
and like creating new neural connections
Hmm.
and new skills,
Yep.
new finding out new things and making your brain, making those new connections, the neurological connections in your
Mhm.
brain.
Mhm.
That's actually super good for you. But as humans, that's not the normal mode of each human. That's why we have MJ stands buying the same shoes over and over again, right? For 30 years, literally. And stick to the same narratives. I'm like, bro, be less subjective, more objective. Like, look at what's in front of you. But those, they're not trying to make new connections in your brain. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's just a really simplistic way to put that in terms of just MJ stance. But like, and then the other thing I think about is like your RAS, your reticular activator system. So we talk about that a lot in stuff that I do, which is like what you focus on expands. And that's why I think writing down your gratitudes and affirmations is like, so I try to take something like super like complex, but it's like, no, here's a practice like that
Mhm.
I do every day. And it helps me like stay to my North Star. So you talked about all the things as an entrepreneur. I have so many things coming at me and doing all kinds of different stuff. But like the North Star doesn't change because I write it down every day. Like I literally like I can show people, but I show people the book. I record it like here's what I was writing in January, and it's the end of the year, and it's just like that's my whole book. I do literally do this practice every day,
Mhm.
See,
and
but
it's because of that.
what separates y'all, us, what separates folks like us is we love the work.
Yeah, the process.
And but
Yep.
it's that part. Like I do everything on my iPad. I was just showing my lady the other day. I've been journaling in this iPad, not this one specifically, since 2019.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like
see,
I've been getting up at 4 a.m. since I was 18. I've been coaching since I was 15. I've been an entrepreneur, like all these things. There's a Mary J. Blige clip that came out. She was on Angie Martinez podcast. And they're like, man, sometimes you look tired. She was like, I am.
shit
She was like,
every
I've been
day.
working hard for a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
She had to deal with Casey and JoJo and them brothers, man. Them boys is running like
listen,
No,
and
that's
she's just got a residency right after all this
in
time, and
Vegas. Yeah,
and just finished Power and all
overdue.
that stuff.
Yep.
And so when you think about somebody who's like, yes, I'm tired, I've been working hard for a long time. The only way you're able to sustain, right, JDam, is the way you just broke that down. And then Dave, how you're saying you're intentional. And so the way that LeBron's able to play after all these years is we're
Yeah.
intentional with doing the small work that so many people, nah, I'm good. Okay. Like if you don't invest in the vessel, you're going to run dry. And you're
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
mad that all your plans never come through and all that other stuff because you're not willing to write down what you're grateful for. You're not willing
Yep.
to journal your thought process. You're not willing to follow a specific plan. So the reason why
Yep.
we were separated is because we're doing the work that separates you. It has nothing, it has
Mhm.
to do with talent, it has to do with gift and skill, but we're also willing to put in all those reps that make Kobe, Jordan, LeBron. But we're just doing
Yep.
it
Right.
in our way and in our
Yep.
field. And so to practical advice, I had CC level basketball talent. I
Mhm.
was gifted with the ability to play, but I had CC level talent, hands down. But then when I figured out how to go from here to here, that's how I became a pro. Like
Right.
I believe I was born to be a pro because God wanted me to. But if I didn't figure out how to work hard, my talent was able to then
Mhm.
grow to becoming a pro because I figured out how do I do the thing that separates me. So now
I
every
think
day
that's
in
facts.
business
Yep.
was I stick to what separates me. And
Yeah.
so if folks from a practical sense advice is figure out where you want to be your best. Am I better than somebody else? That's not even in my thought process. I just want to be better today than I was yesterday, better tomorrow than I am today.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I'm committed to doing the thing that separates me and keeps me doing the thing that's my passion, but also pays me. And so
Yeah.
just hats off to both of you all for doing the things that separate you because you're breathing rare air for sure.
Well, this podcast is a version of that.
Yeah.
Like it's not fully fleshed out and done and all those things. So yeah, like brick by brick, that's the whole point. Brick by brick, building out in the open. Like it's not supposed to be finished. It's not supposed to be done.
Mhm.
It's not supposed to be perfect. So yeah, we're all learning. So anyway, yeah, thank you for that nugget. I know you got to get going. Like we have a segment called Put Me On at the end of each episode. So put us on to like anything. It could be something that you ate. It could be an ice cream bar that you had that was a fire. Like, I don't care what it is. What are you on this week? What have you done this week that you're like, damn, I need to put people on to this?
Um, do y'all have saunas in your house?
No, but I visit the steam room
Yeah, I
3-4
know
times
you,
a week.
JDM, you got saunas.
Yeah,
So that
we
is
got the
it.
infrareds. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've been getting it. We built a sauna in the spot, and so getting in that joint every day has been lovely. But my breakdown that I would say to put you on, number one, from a food stance, I don't know if you could do dairy. There's a non-dairy Ben and Jerry's Ava DuVernay ice cream. That is my go-to from a food stance. From a health stance, getting in the sauna in 30 minutes of visualization, meditation, reading, and journaling. So
Yep.
that is just puts me in a different space to being very conscious of what I'm consuming. But
Yep.
visualizing in the sauna, it literally is been a game changer for me. I've always visualized, but now doing it there,
Yep.
I'm like, yep. Like, because you're taking the heat and then your brain is literally going somewhere else, and just set the timer. So that for me is just, I would say, an upper level joint. But then for everybody else, do whatever you got to do to invest in you. Because if not, your bag will never grow, and it'll be on you if you don't reach your potential. And that's unfortunate.
Mm, that's what's up. JDM, you got anything? Put me on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess piggybacking off that sauna, I mean, yeah, they've just, if you see all the new research and studies, saunas is the number one longevity hack in terms of reducing any heart related death or most deaths in general, just off being in the sauna at least 2 days a week. If you go 3, in Denmark, they just finished like a 50-year study because there's more saunas in Denmark than there are cars. So they
Mm.
just finished a longevity study and showing how much longer they live based on people that do 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. I guess the other thing, I guess, for me, I already mentioned it. I've been told no one this besides my family knows I've been working on is the journal. So the Zenith plan of the journal, and it's just a year of elevation. And we'll be releasing that hopefully in the next couple months. But
Yep.
it's all the stuff. It's the intent. It's what are the goals? What are your 1 week, 3 month, yearly, everything? And it's actually helping you break it down. So you actually got to put a play together for every single thing with intent. And then it's checklists.
Yeah.
Did you do the shit this week or did you not? Did you do it today? Did you do this? And it's something that I already do, but I have to write it down. It's like, nah, we need to build a whole thing around it and put it under Zenith, because the whole thing of Zenith is someone at their most successful, healthiest, and most powerful point. I feel like everyone is trying to reach that Zenith, and
Yeah.
that's why we're putting it under that.
That's what's
Love
up,
that.
man.
Love that. And then if you don't have a sauna, go to JDM's. You don't
Yeah,
need to have
pull up.
one, right?
Pull
There
up.
you go.
We
Yeah,
got you.
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
That's what's up.
Pull up. What do I got, man? I'm gonna just go ahead and say, like, go to your local games or swim meets or something. Like, go to your local high school's events. That's what I'm putting you on to. I try to make sure I get to a lot of the Tacoma schools games, but also my son swims. So when we talk about this mental stuff, like that's the high, like any individual sport's a high accountability sport. Go to one of those, and you're gonna
Yep.
see most confident, most accountable athletes, in my opinion, because you got to walk around in a Speedo and or whatever, you know what I mean? And then you got to be performing. And I've had my eyes opened to other athletes, and then my cousin runs track as well, so I was exposed to individual sports in that way, because I've always done team sports. But yeah, go into the local high schools and go to a sport that you don't follow, tennis or something, and go watch the local high school kids compete in person, because they need support too. So it's just fun. And also you'll meet someone and you might see something that you might learn something. You might make some new neural connections,
Yep.
and that neuroplasticity will take you a little bit further in how you might view and frame some things.
Yeah.
So you helped us frame some things as the first female on here. So thank you and I want to do better at that. I know this is a male dominant space, and that's okay too. I've wrestled with that before we even dropped the podcast. Like, man, is it okay to do like a male dominated whatever? Because I'm all about equity and all that kind of stuff, but also in the female voice too. And so I want to make sure that, thank you for checking us on a few of our perspectives and helping us widen our perspectives on some things. And so we'll take that moving forward as well. So thank you.
Word. I appreciate it. I'll say too, for your I'm the vice president of BSP, which is a Black Sports Professionals out in Seattle. We just hit 20 years as a national chapter, but we're on year 3 in Seattle. So if you need, again, community, village, I mean, we have folks from all of the sports professional teams, but then also we just had an event this past Monday for MLK at the women's UW game, and I brought in a bunch of high school coaches. So if you're trying to
That's
figure
dope.
out like and I think YouTube should definitely be involved.
Sure.
Like where are the folks who are wanting to grow, want to know about finance, being professionals in every different aspect of sport, not just playing it, but these are cats who are in data, who are in finance, who are in marketing, who are all over. So definitely
Yep.
something that I want to make sure there's folks from Tacoma who are getting up there and getting connected, because they say your net worth is your network is your
Mhm.
net worth, but it really is social capital and proximity.
Yeah.
So we can get
Yep.
folks who are really trying to grow and do some things, and you got to get into proximity who folks who are doing other things as well. So
Yeah.
definitely make sure you tap into that. And then the BSA, the Black Sports Athlete Summit, that'll be happening in Oregon. And then if you need
Yeah, I'm
assistance
tapping into that.
with coaching and growing or something in any of those avenues, mental, emotional, financial confidence, hit me up with you, which I would love to add value however I can with coaching, training, workshops. Make sure you follow me, and I got you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we'll put your info in the little caption below on
Yep.
YouTube. So
Right.
make sure you tap in, and make sure you tap in, subscribe to the Brick by Brick podcast. We're gonna be talking, having more people. We building our network out in the open and our net worth out in the open. So that's just what it is. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
steal what was the other one? So financial confidence. I'm stealing that one, yo. I'm just gonna tell you straight up.
Yeah.
Like that's dope. But I know y'all we gotta get going. This is a dope episode
Yeah.
full of gems. Thank you for coming on, Dr. Reese. And we're gonna keep going, and this won't be the last time for sure.
Yep.
I
So
love it.
thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Appreciate
Brick
it.
by brick.
Yeah.
Brick by brick.